it will be David Benavidez against David Morrell Jr. For the WBA regular light heavyweight championship coming up this weekend. A very, very intriguing fight, as Benavidez has been the star on the rise for a long time. But he now he is right there, but he is facing another star who feels like they should be rising up, as David Morrell Jr. looks for the biggest win of his career. It goes down at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. No, it doesn't. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, coming up this weekend. So let's break this fight down, shall we? Benavidez, one of the rising stars in the sport of boxing, at 28 years old, born in Phoenix, Arizona, with the nickname the Mexican Monster. He stands 6 feet tall, with a 74.5-inch reach out of the orthodox stance. 29 fights, 29 wins, 24 of them coming by way of knockout. Now, his last win didn't, as he won the WBC Interim Light Heavyweight Championship over Gvozdyk. He beat Andre by retirement in the middle rounds in 2023, and unanimous decision win over Caleb Plant. So that's really where things started to rise. I guess back 2022 is when it really started to rise. He beats David Lemieux, and it's like, okay, you do that, we're working some stuff here. We're really building. And then a Caleb Plant win, that's a very impressive one. Andre, I didn't love how he started, but he got the job done, and then a unanimous decision win in his last fight back in Vegas. He has really built up a high-level resume deserving of a lot of the conversations that he has been included in. And look, like I have him in my top 10 pound-for-pound rankings right now. If you just looked at the resume, I don't know if you can get there with him. There are probably some guys who are much more deserving than Benavidez to get there, but a lot of that is kind of projecting, because he has the talents and he has the abilities to work his way up and probably even higher. Like, honestly, I think he has the talent to be a number one pound-for-pound fighter. I really genuinely do. I don't think that he has been given the opportunities yet, although, like, there's a couple good ones on there, right? Like David Lemieux, Caleb Plant, but I think after that, like, Andre is good, Gvozdyk is good as well, but I think this one here, if we're talking about some, like, real high-level opportunities, holy hell does he have some big ones coming up if he is able to win this one. Hello, Spy Canuck. Good day to you as well. Thank you very much for popping in today. For this fight for Benavidez, like we have said, for so long, people have been clamoring it needs to be him against Canelo, and let's really get this Mexican star thing going. Although, again, like we said, he is certainly born in Arizona, but born to a Mexican father and an Ecuadorian mother. There certainly is the heritage that people can get behind for him, as people are kind of clamoring him for him to be the one who gets Cinco de Mayo and who gets Mexican Independence Day weekend every year now, instead of Canelo Alvarez, or at least alongside Canelo Alvarez. And so you want that, you need to win this fight right here. And it has to be so tough for Benavidez to not look ahead, because a win here, and we kind of laid it out on the pound for pound episode on the stream was on Tuesday, the episode came out Wednesday. It is a win here potentially puts him in line for the undisputed light heavyweight championship winner between Beterbiev and Bivol at the end of the month. Whether they want to do that, May is just, it's a tight turnaround for how boxing generally does things. But could you see a not Cinco de Mayo, we just said May, the Mexican Independence Day weekend in September? Could you see that? 100% you could. Win that fight, and then it's probably Canelo. And we're talking about life-changing money and life-altering opportunities. And you win both of those, and we're talking about pound-for-pound number one fighter in the world categories at this point. So it is tough to not look ahead from a guy who has 11 professional fights. But Morrell has proven that that would be a mistake. David Morrell Jr. is 6'1", born in Santa Clara, Cuba. He has fought 11 times, he's won all of them, and he's knocked out all but 2 of his opponents. We ran through his resume the other day, but a reminder, 11 professional fights. 8 of them have involved some kind of a championship on the line. And we're not talking about like the Quaker State durability title or anything like that, which was a real ass thing that I saw one time. But in his third pro fight, he won the vacant WBA interim super middleweight title from Lennox Allen. A couple of fights, then he has one fight that doesn't have a title on it. And then from 5-0 all the way up to 11-0, we are talking about championship after championship after championship after championship after championship fight. His last bout, he wins the vacant WBA regular light heavyweight championship at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles on the Terrence Crawford undercard that he fought on back there in August for Riyadh season. So there's this is an impressive resume for a kid who has fought 11 times as a professional. And again, the amateur resume is nuts. 2016 Youth World Championship. He finished his amateur career with a record of 130-5. He won the best boxer of the tournament at the, again, 2016 World Youth Championship, 2017 Cuban National Championships, and he won the 2018 India International Boxing Tournament. So he won championship after championship after championship along the way. And so he was like, after 2 fights in his pro career, I kind of like it when there's gold on the line. So let me just roll with it in this one. Now, again, we talked about those finishes. He has a unanimous decision in his 3rd fight, which is definitely a big step up for him. And he has a unanimous decision win in his last fight against Kalajvic. Apologies for definitely saying that one wrong. But that was, again, a bit of a step up in competition for him. And so if you're, again, going resume for resume, it ain't close. Anyone that of those last 4 fighters that Benavidez has fought would, by great leaps and bounds, be the biggest fight that Morrell Jr. has ever had in his career. And now he has to fight the guy who has beat all of them. I do think he has the skills and the ability to be able to pull off the upset in this fight. The one thing I don't love about Benavidez is that at times we have seen him be a bit of a slow starter. And like in the Andrade fight, Andrade would push forward and start landing combos, and it's cover up immediately. And I'm not saying that there's cowardice or anything like that. I'm just saying that that is a way to lose rounds very, very quickly. And he really did let Andrade start to build those up and build those up and build those up. But then by the 5th round, he's kind of figured it out. And now he starts landing with power. And the second it really starts landing, he is just like a shark in the water, man. It is really impressive to see. I guess the instincts, the ability, and it all kind of coming together. The second that he notes, like, okay, I think I figured this out, and he gets going, it is a steamroller. It is impressive to watch. They both really do have like game-altering, life-changing power in their hands. Morrell throwing it sometimes a bit too much, one at a time. Benavidez can put a few more of those combinations together. The thing that's unique about Morrell, he has a really long stance. And like I don't think he's that huge of a guy. Let's take a look. He's 6'1". Benavidez is coming into this one at 6 feet. So they're basically the same. Morrell is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. And so that's where I think if Morrell was a little bit more advanced in his career, I think that reach advantage could actually be very interesting because of the power that he has and because of the stance that he employs, where it is really, really long. And at times, anyway, he can get really, really long. And so that's a way that you can use that reach advantage and kind of catch Benavidez coming in. I do think both guys are better when they are on their front foot. But I do think, like, again, that counter-striking ability always intrigues me in a sport like boxing where the openings can be so quick and you can cover up a little bit more. Counter-striking just in general, I've always been a fan of, and like in the UFC, you pay for it a little bit more because you can't cover up as quickly, and also there's just more openings there with the smaller gloves. With boxing, because you can cover up a little bit more, I think that counter-striking is a good way to take advantage of the brief openings that there are in this sport. So that was just a bit of a tangent. Back to this fight. I just went on a whole big thing about, oh yeah, you know what? Morrell could be an interesting counter-striker. So I think he benefits from pushing the pace. I understand that that's a little counterintuitive, but I think that there is a lot of power in his hands. And I do, like I said, I do think that Benavidez will start a little bit slow and try to, because there's only 11 professional fights of this guy on tape to really kind of scout, and there isn't as much kind of high-level opportunities that he has to scout. I just talked about all the championships that he has won, but again, he hasn't fought anyone at this level. So you don't really know how he's going to react to this situation. I think Benavidez is going to want to take a lot of that information in, kind of download it all, and see what he's got. While that's happening, Morrell needs to be blasting the hell out of him and really throwing with that power and really trying to get off and really trying to establish that pace and that tone early on. Once Benavidez gets rolling, that's where I think, again, that length and the potential to counterstrike really does have to kind of come into play, because Benavidez will not slow down, and you have to have something to try to keep him off. So I think the jab is going to be really important for Morrell Jr. in this fight. I'm laying out a bunch of different ways for how I think Morrell Jr. can win. I think he has to fight perfectly to win this fight. If we are just, again, looking at like a video game overall or whatever, it is Benavidez. 100 times out of 100, it is Benavidez. Morrell has to fight perfectly to win this fight. And honestly, even if he does, it may not be enough. I do think that there is a talent gap there. I think this is a good opportunity for Morrell Jr. to show what he has. I think this is a good opportunity for Morrell Jr. to get into a national spotlight and create some opportunities here for himself. I just don't think this is a fight that he is going to win. I think Benavidez, again, we kind of talked about this in the UFC breakdown. I think these two guys can fight a similar style, and Benavidez is just better at it than Morrell Jr. is. I think that ball is going to get rolling for him. I do think that there is going to be some real good pressure here put on by Benavidez throughout this fight, and I think eventually that does kind of break through for him, and he'll be the one to pick up a victory here. Trying to find the odds, again, very, very quickly. Man, some of these, the way that these are set up sometimes is very, very frustrating for me, but right now, I can't even see if there are any odds for this one. Are we that lopsided, or am I just that blind? Either way, I'm not seeing it right now, so maybe we'll try to check back on that later. Follow me on social media at Primetime Klein, and maybe we'll get some predictions out there. But I think Benavidez wins, and I think he wins it by knockout. So that is kind of the way that I think that one is going to go.